Shalom, shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. I'm going to like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the whole elect. New is in this gospel of God, living up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just another lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will it be edifying. Going into the pestilence. Okay, as we know that we're in a time of famine, pestilence, economic turmoil, insurrections, world war, and the institution of the MOTB, which will come before World War III goes nuclear. It says international flight full of sick passengers lands in Houston, and people are nervous. All right, because you got to understand that Esau created a boogeyman out of a pestilence known as the C-19, okay, or the Ovid, back in 2020. Okay, he's created a boogeyman that have everybody on edge because, you know, they've been falsifying numbers, especially with the juice mandates and the type of numbers that they've been speaking about in the news of people succumbing from this illness has been all falsified. And you even got people of the Center for Disease Creation, I would say it that way, and the F to the D to the A is for Apple. Okay, basically they have come out and you have whistleblowers among them that came out and mentioned that it was all bullshit. Same thing with this guy, Dr. Frankenstein, a 4-foot Amalekite, which I believe he's an Amalekite, okay? The hell would his credentials say. But basically he came out and stated that he made a lot of that shit up. You have what they call gain of function, because now this whole new BARDFLU, which is basically able to mutate between humans now and fucking birds or livestock or whatever the hell you want to call it. Basically, they're able to catch a pestilence that was not known to affect humans, because you have something which is called this gain of function, which basically they mutate genes and splice them, and then they create something hybrid from it, man. Okay, something that's not naturally known to affect the person is known to do it because this man is the damn devil. Okay, Esau is a fucking mad scientist, you know, and his whole thing is death, misery, torture. And he don't know how to run a society without it. But the good news is that he's at the end of his rulership. And any day now, something big, I mean, we're literally seconds from something big changing the flow of world events, man, to the point they're going to implement this new digital system. But before then, we're going to go into the article here, which says, in the post, you know what world, and you have to be careful on what you say because, you know, these slow bellies that control this algorithm, they're very sensitive. And they want to silence the prophets, which proves that they've lost the information war. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts. They've lost the information war. Okay, because, hey, this information is, they have too much information that they can't possibly contain. Like they say, the worst thing they could have done was create the internet. And, hey, that's exactly what happened. But the internet was a creation of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, okay, to trap you up in your follies and to shed light on the truth. Okay. But it says a lot of people are taking more illnesses more seriously when it comes to travel. You know, going back to 2020, when you was at an airport and you dock at a particular airport, hey, they was on it. They was checking bags, scanning temperatures, all this on some falsified bullshit. You know, that had people on edge. Okay, motherfuckers sniffing Lysol and all that shit, drinking bleach and fucking washing their house down with alcohol over something that was clearly a farce. Okay, though they did release something, you know, I believe, which is in the air and the food and water. You know, people got extremely ill, but it wasn't what they was mentioning in the first go have because people wasn't taking it serious. This go around, people may start to actually succumb from it because, like I said, you have gain of function. But it says when it comes to travel, but obviously that feeling wasn't universal. A lot of people got up in arms over the temporary mask mandates on airplanes and found out that the guy that enforce that shit it was all bullshit, man. You know, but it says, but for millions of people traumatized that the dark period from 2020 to 2021, they are far more worried about travel bugs now than ever before, especially when such bugs threaten to cross international borders. It ain't the fact that they're crossing, it's the fact that this shit is being created right in a laboratory. Okay, talking about lab leaks. Okay, what are you doing splicing and mutating a particular pestilence to mutate into something else that you can't possibly get rid of? This man is the devil. But it says, which leads to us rather unnerving air travel story that recently played out in Houston, Texas. It reads, the passengers of the United Airlines flight from Canada had to be briefly quarantined in Houston on May 31st after a dozen of them came down with some pretty alarming symptoms en route. What are the chances of that, right? How did they contract that? Was it in the air? Or did somebody have it? Or did they put somebody aboard a flight? Or did they manipulate the ventilation systems on the plane? Who knows, okay? Because I know everybody's been coming down with these stomach bugs. The last month or two, people have been getting extremely ill, okay? So, I mean, that tells. But it says, damn, fucking allergies. But it says, according to the reporters, the KPRC 2-Click Houston United Airlines Flight 1528 from Vancouver to Houston was full of homebound tourists who just wrapped up the cruise vacation. It says of the 163 passengers on board, 75 have gotten back from an international cruise, and a third of those passengers suddenly fell ill halfway through the flight to Houston with nausea and other flu-like symptoms. No word on whether they've also eaten an in-flight fish dinner a la airplane. Okay, whatever. But what is the chances of that, right? Now they all of a sudden having these type symptoms. Why? Because Esau Edom, this is the narrative that they're pushing. Okay, like 3 years ago, it went for some goop bitch eating fucking bat soup. Then all of a sudden to Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans being the progenitors of this particular pestilence, which is like, how the hell did it come from somebody eating a bat soup bathed in piss to it being an Israelite problem? And that's when, you know, the light bulb came on upstairs, like, yeah, this is part of an agenda. And we already niching that they're going to want to put, you know, stuff in people and they're going to roll things out. And we already had it in our mindset that, look, I ain't dealing with it, you know. So, hey, we passed that first test. Now comes the second and third test because they are going to try to implement another juice like this guy, Gates of Hell, okay, basically already got juice for this already new strain of pestilence. What are the chances, right? But it says about an hour and a half before we hit Houston, which Houston is a shithole anyway, full of niggas and nigga winches. You see, you niggas need something bad to happen to you down there because you wicked as all hell. You know, like, hey, 2-3 weeks ago, we called it through the spirit. We said something big is going to go down in Houston, you know, and all of a sudden the Lord hit their ass with a lot of earthquakes. I mean, the earth, it seemed, it's a movie called, I believe The Earth is Going Dark or something. It was literally like that. And I may have to do a video on how dark it got because that was horrific. That was like a veil that opened up or something. It was crazy. Thank you. But it says, they asked if you have been on a cruise ship, could you raise your hand, says Chanel. And it says, upon arriving at George Bush International Airport, it says the plane was met by waiting teams of first responders, but passengers were not allowed to simply disembark, meaning that they had to quarantine them. It says, the pilot, came out and said, hey, I'm in my 25 years of flying, I've never seen anything like this. And duh, because who you think doing it? But it says we've been quarantined by the you-know-what, which they ain't got authority to do anything because have these losers that work for this particular organization here, the Center for Disease Creation, because they create the shit. And then they come up with these particular provisions for people to go against their will. And, you know, before you know it, you have a shit show in your hand. But basically, it says nobody can exit the plane until they lets us off. It says, however, the you-know-what shouldn't last long, according to Snell. And they only had to wait about 45 minutes-ish before passengers was allowed to disembark after passing a health screening with the paramedics. It says 3 passengers were evacuated from the plane, but reportedly none of them needed hospitalization and were all allowed to continue on their way. Okay, so there we go, man. You know, they're spreading a narrative again. This is what they want to use. Okay, so let's see what the scriptures say about this, because we know that the scriptures goes into pestilence and famines and all hell breaking loose. So this is the book of 2 Ezra 16, verse 1. It says, we'll be into the Babylon in Asia. We'll be into the Egypt in Syria. Okay, now you look at the Babylon and Egypt, it's all synonymous because, you know, Babylon, America, Egypt is known as America. These are spiritual titles. Okay, but Babylon in Asia, we'll be into the Egypt in Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, and bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. And we know that a Black Swan event is destined to take place any day now. Okay, like I came across a post from Redacted. I didn't get to watch the video yet, but basically they were specifying that that before the Biden and the President Trump or the or his what do you call this guy, DJ Trump, before they face off a debate, something big is going to go down. And I know the FBI has been mentioning that something big is going to go down in the United States. But my thing is, how the fuck do you know that? And then it happens if you ain't the one that's creating it. If you know something big is going to go down, won't you go stop the people that's doing it? Or are you behind the shit? Like, you play it out, man. All right? But it says, a sword is sent upon you who may turn it back. And all this is part of the sword. This is part of Yahweh Shai's destruction upon the wicked of our people when you heathens, man. And like I said, you people in Houston, it ain't nothing but single black women down there and a bunch of degenerate jakes, okay, that act like a bunch of effeminate women. That's all it's down there, right, in Esau. But other than that, judgment. It says, a fire is sent among you and who may quench it. And the fire is going to be in the form of these plagues before the missiles come, which the missiles are known as plagues as well. It says, plagues are sent into you. And what is he that may drive them away, okay? So plagues is coming. And when you look up the definition of a plague, let's get some definition on it real quick. And by the way, a lot of these whistleblowers are coming up dead too. You know? Not plague. Plague definition. Watch that show, The Last of Us, and play the game. I might have to go back through the first two games again, man, because I think it was something called the Krypton, something like that. But it was basically based on a real fungus. But it says contagious bacteria characterized by fever and delirium, typically with the formation of buboes, which we know the plague here. I'm not going to say that. And sometimes infection of the lungs, pneumatic. Okay. It says a simple definition, epidemic that causes high mortality, which means death, which plague is getting ready to hit this earth in its entirety. Okay. Everybody's getting ready to be affected. Pestilence, an infections epidemic caused by bacterium. Yersinia pestis, characterized by fever, chills, prostration, transmuted to humans from rats by means of bites of fleas. Okay, so there you go, pestilence, right? But it reads here, it says, the mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that may drive them away? It says, a fire should go forth from his wrath. Who is he that may quench it? So, hey, who's going to turn back the plagues? Outside of Yahweh Shai? Nobody, because this is the judgment of Babylon the Great. Okay, so it says people online became concerned, and this is all a scare tactic, man, okay, because they know how people bugged out over the first one. And I remember they were speaking that around or before the year 2025, we used to expect another global one. So here they go concocting it. But it says people online became concerned after learning that the international flight with over 24 ill passengers has spent less than an hour in quarantine, especially considering that neither of the illness nor the cruise the sick passengers were on had been identified. It says quarantine them. So you see, going back to the PTSD of the first ordeal, people are still suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome. And they're still stressed out. So last thing they want to do is catch something that they don't possibly know that they can heal. Because according to the information that Esau has been putting out, people have been dying from the pestilence rather than the shit that they put in them. So when people, you cough, or you look like you ill, then people be ready to lose it. This first ordeal put a lot of fear and paranoia in people. You know, I mean, people was going to the stores. They were fighting over toilet paper. Motherfuckers fighting over alcohol, peroxide. What do you call that? Hand sanitizer. These people was doing all types of madness just to, quote unquote, keep themselves away from it. Wearing these face diapers in the car alone. It was crazy, man. You know, Jaws was making you wear this shit. Even when people was proving that it wasn't any truth behind it, they was still violating people's freedoms. And people got to the point, they're like, you know what, the hell with it. And what really took a toll on people was the fact because the venues were closed. The movie theaters, you had to sit every fucking seat apart. People that lost their businesses. Like this guy, Dr. F, he has a lot of blood on his hand. He owes the people a lot of money while he collected $700 million in the time of all hell breaking loose at that time. People have lost mom and pop businesses. They have lost money. They've lost finances. You know, people are going into debt because the economy is a lot worse now. You know, but it says you don't allow international passengers with signs of sickness into new country, said YouTube commenter. It says from Canada, they just need to quarantine and have them tested, or it might be something y'all ate, she said. It says it is true that the American health officials take sudden illness on international flights seriously, but I've even experienced this firsthand. On my first overseas flight home in college, I developed a sudden fever and stomach flu-like symptoms and was warned by a flight attendant that I may need to quarantine at my layover point, hundreds of miles from my home. But luckily, my fever broke before arrival, and I was told no longer met the requirements. It says that was apparently the case here too, as the you-know-what told the USA Today in a statement that no passengers met the requirements for the criteria. So basically what they're doing, they're just putting the bug in people's ears and letting them know that, look, this thing is getting ready to be a real thing, you know? So with that being said, hey, shit is getting ready to go down, man. All right? So this is the book of Ezekiel, the 5th chapter, and I'm going to start at verses 11. And it says here, ooh, this is good. Therefore, eat the sons of the mist, man. Let's start at 11. It says, wherefore, as I live, says Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary of all thy detestable things. And Jake is still into idolatry today. You see, when they go to these churches, they elevating these women, they engaging in self-dealing with the ancestors, all types of wickedness, man. Jake still deals with that folly today. And it says here, therefore I will also diminish thee, neither shall my eyes spare, neither will I have pity. So the Lord is not going to have mercy on Jake on his side, man, okay? Nor you heathens, because he's about fed up with the folly. It says, and a third part of thee should die with the pestilence and with famine, and they should be consumed in the midst of thee, and the third part shall fall by the sword round about thee, and I will scatter the third part into the wind, and I will draw after the sword after them, man. So, hey, the Lord have specified judgments for the 2/3 of our people. And not only Salakia, not only the 2/3 of our people, you heathen as well. Because, okay, you heathen play a big role in the downfall of our people. And it says, and thus shall my anger be accomplished, and I will cause my fury to rest upon them, and I will be comforted. So it's going to make the Lord feel extremely well to fuck up you people, man. You Edomites and you 2/3 and you other heathen. Because honestly speaking, out of our people, man, hey, you 2/3, you just say you deserve the punishment. Right along with you damn devils. But it reads, it says, I will cause my fury to rest upon them, and I will be comforted, and they should know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it in my zeal when I have accomplished my fury in them, okay? So let's look up the word zeal. Because if anything, you want to be edifying, right? Zeal goes into the Hebrew word, what is it? Quanaha, right? And it says, jealousy, adore, passion, zeal for men of God, adore of anger of men against adversaries, of God against men, envy of men, jealousy, drawing the wrath of the Most High. And the Lord is jealous over Israel with the perfect jealousy because, you know, hey, we're his woman. Just like if you brothers, you see a woman in another guy's face, hey, something going to go off for you. You're going to see red, man. You're going to want to know what's going on. And then before you know it, you're going to want to, you know, you're going to want to stomp ass out, especially if the woman knows better, you know. But anyway, and it says here, moreover, I will make thee waste and reproach among the nations that are round about thee in the sight of all that pass by. So it should be a reproach and a taunt and an instruction and an astonishment, Salakia, unto the nations that are round about thee, when I should execute judgments in thee, anger and fury, and in furious rebukes, man. And the furious rebukes is going to be in the form of the Lord putting y'all asses to death, man. He's going to raise up martial law troops in the form of these UN troops, these migrants, okay? And they're going to round you up, and they're going to throw you head first in these FEMA camps, and they're going to have their way, starving a lot of you guys to know the truth. It says, I, the Lord, have spoken it. And when I should send upon them evil arrows of famine, woo-wee, evil arrows, okay, of famine, because the Lord is going to starve this place, because one thing about America, they're known for their dainties. So the balance has to come. So it's going to come to a point that food is going to be extremely scarce. And these people are going to go crazy. These people are going to literally turn into the walking dead. And it says, which should be for their destruction. And I will send to destroy you. And I will increase the famine upon you and will break your staff of bread. And all this is coming. When this economy collapses, all this is going to happen simultaneously. Okay, we ain't got to wait 10 years after the economy collapsed for the famine and the pestilence. These things are going to roll right into the next in succession. It says, so I will send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they shall bereave thee, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee. I, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, have spoken it. Okay, so that's pretty much it, man. I mean, there's several other precepts we can give, but the point is being made. Giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Lord's will you were edified into the next lesson. Shalom.